Hey guys, Rob from Ultimate Diesel Tuning. Today I want to talk to you about the Toyota LandCruiser 200 series and the Trans Packs that we fit to them. These comprise of a transmission lockup kit and a transmission remap. I'd also like to explain the correct way to tow with your 200 series once you've had one of our Trans Packs installed. All right, now I want to show you how the buttons work for the lockup kit. I'm actually going to insert some footage that I previously recorded from a Hilux, but it is exactly the same button and process for the 200 series. So I want to show you the actual lockup button. When both buttons are not pressed in, you'll see the color blue, top and bottom. This is when the actual lockup kit is not being applied and it's in standard form. When you press the top button, which is the auto button, you'll actually see it start to be highlighted in the color green. And this is where you should spend 95% of your time just leaving it in auto. The top one is green and the bottom button is not pressed in and will be blue. If you press the bottom button, it is the low speed lockup, and then that button will also be colored green. When both buttons are green, you are in low speed lockup, which is less than 50 kilometers an hour and using the gears manually. So as I referred to, leaving just the top button depressed, you'll see the colors green at the top and blue down the bottom. These colors will change when the actual converter locks up while driving. That's normal. So with the button, while you're driving along around 80 kilometers an hour, you'll see the torque converter locks up in the vehicle, and coinciding with this, you'll actually see a change in the color of the button as well. When the vehicle drops below the 80 kilometer mark or around that 80 kilometer mark, you'll see the color change back to the normal color of green and blue. This is totally normal operation for your transmission lockup kit button. So once you've got your load hooked on the back of your 200 series and you're about to take off, I just want to talk you through what to do. So move the gear lever down to drive and across to S and move it up to 5. What this will do, the gearbox will do all normal operations up and down the gears, but it'll just stop it from going into 6th gear. The reason you don't want the vehicle to be going in 6th gear, if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour, it really labors the engine. So I'm going to go into the dyno room now and show you exactly the reason to support this and how it's the best for your vehicle. What I'd like to show you now is the performance output on the Dynograph of a tuned 200 series in our shop recently. This is a great example of both power and torque. The dotted line here is the torque and the solid line above is the power. And as I've mentioned earlier, you really want to be towing above 1800 RPM and 2400 RPM, as this is the peak torque period for the engine of the 200 series. The benefit of this, it will tow a lot easier. If you're towing below this, you're actually laboring the engine. It's chugging along, it's not efficient, and in most cases, you're going to lose a lot more fuel as well. On the other end of the spectrum, high in the RPM, above 3300 RPM, you actually see the power drop away and the torque completely drops away, and the engine's just over revving itself, not creating the torque and power where it is in this middle section between 2000 and 2600 RPM. So to summarize, it's really important, no matter what speed you're doing, that when you're towing behind your 200 series, you actually are in the right efficiency zone for the vehicle. What this does is improve the fuel economy and makes your vehicle tow a lot smoother and a lot easier. I want to make mention about the 200 series and the Speedo. It's a big question that pops up a lot. If I'm towing and doing 100 Ks, a lot of people notice that the GPS says a different number. What we've found is the Speedo can be actually out up to 8%. So that means if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour down the highway, you're actually doing GPS speed of about 92 kilometers an hour. And I want to give you an example. This is a standard 285 60 18-inch tire on a GXL Cruiser. And this is our Cruiser, which has got a 285 65 18 tire, which is a 33-inch tire. This speed on this car can be around 6 kilometers to 7 kilometers different per hour, and this car is down at 3%. So when we're doing 100, it's actually doing 97 kilometers an hour on the GPS maps. Well guys, today we've covered off a few things about your 200 series. First, it was about the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Trans Pack and how to use the button inside the car. Secondly, what's the best way to tow with your vehicle? Is it in the optimal efficiency zone like I showed you on the Dynograph inside? And finally, check your speed via GPS to ensure you're in the right speed zone for your vehicle. And if you've got any other questions, make sure you speak to our diesel experts at Ultimate Diesel Tuning.